Hopefully this works. Dun, 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 dun. I have no idea whether we're actually live yet.
Most likely we are. Most likely we are.
Yeah, we're live. We're live, Neil. We are definitely live.
We're honestly.
We're live.
Tell you what, mate, I'm expecting to see a record contract, a deal come through. Right, here we go. Turn that down. And
a little bit of Michael Jackson.
Hey, biggity bong, mother fluffer. You know what, mate? These glasses aren't overly clean. I'm just going to get a bit of a clean down with my fixture, ladies and gentlemen, which are available from the Supernatural Strength shop, as are Lethal Arms apparel. As you can see, very sexy, Mr. Paul. If anybody in the chat hasn't got your bird watching, go and get them. We've got the White Talk here, and later on, in about half an hour, we're going to oil him up.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to go get the fixture.
Tell you what, mate, I wouldn't wear any shirt. If I had a physique like that, mate, I probably wouldn't wear a shirt. Come on. Right. All right, I've the fix and Western Survivor beef jerky, who incidentally brings you the show, ladies and gentlemen, the finest beef jerky in the world. On the tits. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, we are live. I think we are 33 people.
Yeah, I just gave it a few shares on all my link.
I'm trying to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, I will share it my YouTube too.
Well, the irony is, lads, we're on a different stream link, and I need anybody who can educate me on how that happens, so that the guys could share it. I actually set up the stream link. When did you tell me to do it, Ryan? It was like
it was a couple of days ago.
No, it's a good few days ago. Set up the stream link, get on here tonight, half an hour early to get it kicking, and it says access denied. And I'm like, what? It's my fucking computer. So it won't let me in, and it won't let me access it. And I'm clicking, nothing. Just going to get in with the first super chat of the night with Matt Tickle My Limits Larrats. Very good friend of mine. Just want to say thanks to Ryan for training advice the other day. Really helpful advice. Hi, guys. It's going to be a great show. I'll tell you what, Matt. You couldn't have hit better, nail on the head, better than you just did. My mate Ryan has managed to piss off the entire world. As usual. I love him. Absolutely love him. Let's see who else we got. We're waiting for a few people to come in. I'll break the news now.
I want to say back to Matt Tickle My Limits Larry. Yeah, he sent me a super chat question whilst I was playing chess the other night, and we had a good answer for him. It was just I think it was from memory. It was around how much table time a week, and it was how to structure and not and be able to get on the table every day, even potentially, and just how to use relative perceived effort and whatnot to keep moving forward, even when you feel like you need rehab.
Super quick technical question, guys, because I don't know how this works, and there's a lot of fiddlery going on with the lives. I've just got one of the guys in here, Magic in the Makings, just come on. He said, Neil, if you hear two streams going and more people waiting in the other one, yes, I bet there is, mate, because the stream is there on my channel, but I can't access it. For some reason,
the stream that you created, that you scheduled, yeah.
So how in the frig is that? Because you guys have shared it or something and it's blocked?
No, it's because of Zoom. I believe that's because of Zoom. I don't know if you can from Zoom you can access. Then you need another third-party option like OBS Studio or something.
If anybody in the chat, guys, or anybody, just fire out the thing. Just if you can fire out anything that says other links fecked. They're on. We're not going to hit anything big until a number of more people get in, because I really apologise for that. Quite new to the lives, and we've had two cock-ups. The other thing that happened, apparently, Jordan Sill, when we cancelled the stream, Jordan had a storm, we had to cancel it. I just cancelled it and deleted it. It rescheduled. How in the... Doesn't show on my system. There's no stream on my... Well, how's that happen? Somebody needs to tell me how the...
Now, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
As long as your phone doesn't accidentally go live and it's got you in the shitter or something going live, then you're all good.
Very good friend of mine. That happened to, you know. It's all right if that goes down. It's to be like,
I say that because the other night, I don't know if you saw, I put out a piece of content that talked about this scratch on my forehead, and I did it in my sleep. I was just in my sleep. I twitched with wrist flexion, and like, I literally do. I literally go to sleep, and I wake myself up at night sometime with this. There's just a hit comes out. And
pronating into your own head.
Slip! That's a slip!
Someone said to me, Ryan, can you get footage of that? I want to see it. I want to see what you look like. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I put a dim light on in my bedroom the other night, and I set up. I'm like, I can't record all night. How am I going to do this? I'm like, I know. I'll set up a live stream of me sleeping, but I didn't want it to go out to the world. So I triple checked like 1,000 times.
Unlisted, yeah.
Mate, anyone who watches that, I give up. I got a little funny story for you though, guys. Check this out. You want a story about being arm wrestling obsessed in your sleep? God rest his soul, guy that used to be with us from Finland called Harry Naskali, right? He was a head referee at the WAF for a lot of years. And Voko Naskali, his missus, are in bed together, as you do when you're with your missus. And I'm just going to hit a super chat real quick, and I'll come back to this because he's got to go to bed, this guy. Fredden997, thank you very much for your super chat, brother. He's just put, have a cracking show, need to be up early for work. Hey, appreciate you coming on and checking us out anyway, mate, and thanks for the super chat there. But yeah, Harry Naskali and Voko Naskali are in bed, right? And middle of the night, Harry's telling me this on the bus at Worlds, and he said, I had this dream. He said, I'm in the final of the World Championships against John Brzenk. And I said, all right. He says, and I'm wrestling away, and suddenly I couldn't help but notice how long his hand's really, really long. It's like his palm's stretched out really long, and I'm cranking away on it. But every time I crank, his palm extends and his fingers are short. And I'm cracking away on it. I'm hammering on this thing, but I cannot pin him. I just cannot pin him. Anyway, suddenly, his palm reaches out and cracks me in the jaw. And he said, anyway, I came awake, and it was Voko's leg. He had hold of her foot, and he was fucking hammering on her. Anyway, he went, oh, shit. She was like screaming out in pain and asleep. So anyway, he rolled over and pretended to be like, oh, go to sleep. She sort of woke up, like, what the fuck's going on with my leg? Anyway, she got out of bed next day. She couldn't walk. Voko's sort of limping around. She said, I don't know what I've done. I hurt my leg somehow. And I was like, nah, no idea. I'll imagine how that happened.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I thought you were, this was a joke. It wasn't going to be someone's leg. I thought you were going to say your floppy dog was that big or something.
No, mate, I don't know what you take me for. Legit story, that. I
legit have been now banned from resting my right hand. My left hand has permission still because that doesn't do any midnight hits. My right hand is not allowed to rest anywhere near my fiance at all because 3 to 4 times a night, just out of the blue, big wrist flexion, side pressure.
It's good that we're not footballers, you know.
Yeah. Hey, everybody does weird things in the sleep. Seriously, I mean, massive. I'm just going to nail this super chat real quick. I love this one.
Over under
Ginger PED man.
Yeah, I saw that one come in.
Super chat. Cheers, mate. What's your over under on how many times Ryan and I say, "Oh, VJ today"? Well, watch this space, mother fluffers, because somebody might be coming on in a little while. Yeah. Now then, like I said, don't worry about the sleep thing, mate. Everybody does weird things. And yesterday, we get to go and see people in England, so you can go and see your friends. So a mate of mine's got his own pub built. And I decided I'm going to go have a few beers with him at his pub, socially distanced, got my mask on, get in there, have a few beers. Anyway, I come home at night, and I'm in there a few hours. I wake up this morning, it's like bloody 5 a.m. I turned over, I said to my missus, I said, I'll tell you what, unbelievable last night. She says, what? I said, middle of the night, I got up and I went to the bathroom. And I shit you not. As soon as I opened the door, the light came on. I didn't have to do anything. Just the light came on. Never touched it. And I'm like, what the? So I go, I have a piss, I come back out. As soon as I shut the light goes off when I shut the door. I said to my missus, I said, do you think I've got superpowers? She said, oh, God, and jumped out of bed. I said, what's up? She said, you've pissed in the fridge again. Don't get it. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, Ryan. You can handle that, mate.
Yeah, we got Devin Larrett in the chat. Good
Let's have a
morning.
look who we got in there.
I say good
Devin,
morning. You guys.
yeah.
Good evening, to
Devin.
you guys. Isn't it?
Devin
What's up,
Larratt is in
Devin?
the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Getting massive. I hope he realizes I've been doing this for a long time. Already massive, just in all the wrong places.
Is Devin eating right now?
He will be.
I would say he's eating.
Devin, if you want to jump
What's
in.
over under on that one?
Yeah, I like it, mate. He's just come back and he says, Ginger Ped Man. Yeah, I love it, mate. My name rhymes with gingerbread man, mate. That is inspirational stuff.
So,
That's ace. Absolutely love that one. So yeah.
I run out of coffee already. Gee,
Now then.
I'm now going through the motions.
So shall I tell people who we got coming in?
Yeah, you got it.
Devin's in the chat now, so he might want to jump on later for a little while. But
Yeah.
in a little while, guys, we will be joined. First ever fixed live guests. We got RVG.
You're gonna have him bound and muted as well.
You mate,
No, you're
I
wrong.
can sit back at that point. I can just sit back.
Oh,
and let you go.
man.
Terrible. we also will have Jerry, the gingerbread man, the Brokeback Mountain Caderet, coming on the mother fluffing show. Jerry Cad will be in the house, as will Rob. It's the Massachusetts connection. Stephen Penner, my man, is in here with a super chat. If you thought you can have a fix without me, then you've got back tits. Funnily enough, I do in fact have back tits. Here we go. Question of the day. Where can we hear Neil say, oh, here we go. Love the sunglasses. Leading to a little secret, mate. The reason I'm wearing the sunglasses is I've had to buy a new light, and it's like a spotlight, and I've got it over there right now. It doesn't last very long, the battery, so if I fade into grey later on, I'm told by my missus it's a good look when I'm in low light. You know why. But while it's on, can't see shit. Plus, I can't stand looking at Paul all night, looking like that. It's making me feel bad about myself. It's like you in the forest, Ray. Isn't it? When you were
want to see my best party trick? My best party trick.
Someone went straight over Ray's head.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Interesting. Ryan.
There we go.
Mate. It's showtime, mother fluffers. Here we go. So, any second now, we should be joined by another member. Oh my!
Hey, the worst part of doing this live is I cannot stop reading the comments. I am making no eye contact with anything or engaged with anything but the comments.
It is hard.
Why have we got no Rob? Why have we got no Rob? Come on, Rob.
Right, I've technically.
It's Heather. It's Heather. I'm trying to.
Oh, you having a technical as well, Heather?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
hear you, Heather.
Technical directors.
Rob's technical director's on. Thank goodness.
Are you guys live yet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we are full live, Heather. You're live.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab him.
That would be good.
We do all this terrible stuff before we go live and then invite people on and let them do it on live air.
Oh, I see. I thought it was at 5 o'clock. Sorry.
It's all right, mate. No problem. We're going to bring him in a little while. It's not an issue. But I'm going to, once you come into the waiting room, we can't leave Rob hanging. And we brought him straight on. But just as a starter, I want to catch up with Rolly and get a little bit of feedback on what's been happening over with Larry, mate, because you're a busy boy. So give us an update. Come on, Rolly Rice.
He's reading the comments.
What's the update?
Let us know what's going down. He was sleeping again then, wasn't he? He's looking. Get off fake taxi for fuck's sake.
No, I'm trying to connect my earphones. It's
Okay.
like I have very low sound. I wanted to make these. It didn't work. Now I'll be like this.
I thought you'd been looking across at Paul and were reaching for some tissues. What's going on, son?
I get bored.
Give us the Larry update.
Yeah, training's been going really great. I don't think I have seen anyone improving this fast as Larry. He's different. He's just different. He's not probably, but he's most likely the most strongest person I have ever seen. It's his overall strength, and we're getting to transferring it to table pretty darn fast, and I'm very impressed with that. He learns very fast. it's still kind of, the beginner awkwardness. And of course, when you kind of learn to arm wrestle one way and someone wants you to arm wrestle a little bit differently, you need some time to get it. He gets it in 2 hours and starts doing what basically I asked of him. So yeah, he's not skipping any training sessions. Like everything I ask, he will do it. Everything we have scheduled, we have done. So basically, today was started our second week, and we did some exercise that we did previous week. Some were changes, but exercises we did this week, he increased by 15 kilos. Basically, it's just and last week it looked like, yeah, he's like, no, I cannot take more. That's my max. And he's like, no, I can do 15 kilos more this week.
Somebody like that learning the movements and stuff, once they learn them, then they can access so much more. I mean, I feel like it's just like all the crazy weird stuff that he does already in the gym. Like
that was for me what I wanted
different.
to see, and what I hoped what I thought he needed to kind of to win the matchup against Schoolboy was just to become neurologically efficient, rather than just. You're still in the dark, Rob. What's going on?
I love that. You just can hear him giving it to Heather. There, he's like, Heather.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to knock over a couple of super chats. First of all, big thanks.
All right.
There he is.
Mate of mine,
There he
James.
is. You got him.
We are, Vijay.
So James, thanks, mate. He said, Neil, bounce the light off the wall, and I'm going to give it a shot.
Bounce the light off.
Is this an attempt at something like what
Fixing
Ray
his
just
leg.
did?
Did it work?
Not going directly at me, but is that still all right?
You're looking lovely, Neil.
Right,
Yeah.
There you go. James, top tip, pal. I've just got it going past me now. Good stuff. And let's have a look. Stephen Pennett's coming with another one again. I need to be Neil's biggest donation member. Hey, no problem with that at all, mate. Does Neil have a subscription plans to support? I don't. To be perfectly honest with you, mate, with being a technical muppet, that's why I've got my technical directors. And I'll tell you what, Ryan even does a bit of technical directing for me as well. Rolly's in there. Ryan does a bit. I didn't, as these guys will tell you, I didn't actually get the channel monetized for, I think it was about 9 months, just because I didn't know how. I was over the level, but didn't actually know how to monetize.
I remember that conversation.
I was having a conversation with these two guys offline, and they said, so, are you earning any money yet? And I said, well, how do I do that? And they laughed like mad, but that was just because I don't really know how to do that kind of thing. So, yeah. Wasn't really about that in the first instance, but I will get into doing things like that. But at this point in time, I'm more into talking about arm wrestling, specifically in the evenings, than I am about doing all the technical stuff, due to the fact that I am absolutely shite at it. It'll come.
But we know.
No,
we know you're spending all your money on arm wrestling T-shirts like Ginger Lake and Ray Loves Cats.
I'm having fun with that. I'm having a lot of fun. It's funny to me to make Ginger Lake shirts, stuff like that. Yeah. It is. But Rob Bridget Jr., welcome to the show, motherfucker. I think you're on mute, Rob. Actually,
Hey,
no, you're all right.
Good.
You're not.
Speaking of people who monetized in like overnight, I think Rob and Heather figured it out in like exactly 48 hours.
Well, Heather's pretty bloody cute. I mean, I was on the phone the other day to Michael, and Rebecca Todd is a killer.
Yeah, she's
seen like the little animations and stuff he's got.
Yep.
What the?
Yep. She's working like full time too.
Yeah.
Like when I was down there, she was like, "Oh my god, if I am editing constantly."
Yeah.
She's over it, I think.
I've had the pleasure of chatting with Michael and Rebecca quite a bit through their YouTube journey, and they work hard.
They do.
Anytime I've seen comments saying that people are putting down their YouTube efforts, I'm like, guys, you don't realize how hard they are working.
Oh yeah,
it's
big time.
It's taxing. So in particular, but yeah, Rob and Matt Musk, they're the two accounts that have just exploded, which is awesome.
So, and away we go.
Ask the questions, Neil. Ask the questions.
So, mate, we were bouncing things about earlier on, and you said to me, Ryan, the YouTube world is alight with this side pressure stuff. I am taking some serious abuse. We're definitely talking about side pressure. So, I'm
What
watching.
the fuck are you even drinking? First off, every time I see you, you got some box juice that's like a giant juicy juice.
It is. It's
Why?
I drink it. Tropical punch, pineapple, passion
You're like
fruit, orange.
pounding
pear,
it like it's happy hour. What are you doing to yourself?
Have you got any vodka in it?
No.
It's 6 a.m. What kind of
If you had
vodka?
vodka in it, it'd be acceptable. Drinking straight juice out of the carton like that is almost like
I've always had a sweet tooth and a sugar issue. I don't know. Paul Linn, you saw me drinking maple syrup. I tried that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
little bit of news here, guys. Before we get onto the side pressure, because I can feel in my bones that got carried away a little.
Somebody commented lackey milk.
So Matt
I'm going to mute myself because I can't stop reading these comments.
Get in with this. He said he's heard that Matt is close to 260 pounds, and he heard this on Ryan Espy's stream. He's put Hermes is in for a problem. Matt is going to be huge. Matt, we've talked about this before. Matt is capable of upsetting most people, and he hasn't realized his potential yet. So, yeah, who knows what that? I think there's going to be a lot of things going down there that we
that subject's got to take a ticket and get in line.
Yeah.
The whole event, East versus West, will be crazy.
I just want to hit this Protosaurus tricepsus. That's put, I have a background in bench press competition and struggle to let go of former accessory movements in the gym. Do you think normal gym training will be detrimental for my progress in arm wrestling? No, I don't think it will be detrimental. No, it won't. Unless, of course, you decide to put 80 kilos on a side pressure machine and drive it directly through your joint. Then it could be. It really could. The floor is yours, Mr. Bowen.
The floor is mine. Oh yeah, the side pressure lift. The controversy that's come from it since posting.
We come back to this every 6 months, I think, or every 3 months.
Well, it's a natural life cycle with Uncle John's arm wrestling PR show. Everything that we
do
did.
not blame your lunacy on Uncle John.
Yeah.
No. I'll happily blame the lunacy on Todd Hutchins for giving me these vectors. That's cool. But for me, this lift it's come around. It's been about 4 or 5 months since I've done a 1RM on that vector specifically. But it was a godsend to me finally. I've been getting crucified on everything bicep. I'm not a bicep guy in terms of where my aces are. I consider side pressure my ace among arm wrestling fundamentals. That has developed over the last couple of years since training under the direction of Todd, which started early 2009, mid 2018. But anyway, the lift from Uncle John came up, and like I said, I was happy because it was an opportunity for me to potentially finally beat this guy who'd been cleaning up with everything fundamental. Him and Lachlan were just untouchable on the show, essentially. So it was nice for me to be able to do something that I don't think.
And that's actually fucking hilarious because you made a video about renting free space in my head, and I've been trying to break up with you for years now. And you're still like, I moved out of the house, got my own apartment, and you moved into the apartment across.
I gotta get a win on you on the show. You've been dominating too much, and it has
when
in my
I got
head.
into a weightlifting
Definitely not in
competition,
my
I didn't
head.
get into a competition going, I gotta beat Ryan Bowen. You weren't even on my mind.
Well, obviously, I'm riding your coattails. I'm going to use your name as much as I can to get as much street cred as I can. I mean, I want
to start getting royalty every time my name's. And there's a click for something my name's on.
And what was that? You dropped
something about royalties and me being in partnership for your growing
royalties
channel.
I'll send all my reaction video royalties to you for sure. Don't worry.
Just a quick couple of super chats, guys. Matt, Tickle My Limits, Larratt's just put, also, I want a Neil action figure. That'd be funny, mate. Let me tell you, I'll go for that. That has all of his sayings on it. Best broadcaster of all time, mate. Thanks very much for the support. Really appreciate it, brother. So, what else have we got? A couple more super chats. Stephen Pena. This is it. Hey, mate, Stephen's the king, and he's coming with this. Why is Schoolboy pulling Larry when he needs to prove himself by pulling RVJ? Now, he has pulled you, hasn't he, mate? Rob, you faced Schoolboy.
Yeah. Yeah, Schoolboy is very real. I've had good success with him because he's a hand puller, and I do good with guys who try to break my hand, and I'm just flat out stronger than him. But he's gone on a rip all through Europe and everywhere. I mean, he's super legit. He's pulled everywhere. He's pulled in the top 8 sub tournaments, and he's good. So saying he needs to prove himself, you know, it's an arm wrestling match. So who knows what's in it on the back end. But they both got humongous YouTube channels. That's where this came from.
He's a baby as well.
Yeah.
He's just a puppy. I mean,
yeah, but the 20 years old in Russia is like 38 here in the States.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But look, when we look at Schoolboy, like at some point in time, you gotta like, I don't want to say feel sorry for him, because I mean the guy's like a global phenomenon and like actually famous, but he's been kind of thrust into the limelight, and the general population and all arm wrestling fans think that he's God, maybe second only to Devin Larratt. So he's put into a real precarious situation, you know, as far as moving forward, and potentially when coming into like that elite level of competition, having to take a step down. And I think that's tricky for him. It's tricky for Alex. I love the guys, you know what I mean? They're awesome. But it's going to be interesting seeing him in the next couple of years. I think his potential is mega, but I just kind of feel not sorry for the situation he's in, but I just have empathy towards it.
Well, the internet is a really weird space at the end of the day, and Schoolboy is not, as we know, is probably the least talkative of all people in the arm wrestling world when it comes to social media presence. Despite him having the millions of followers, I don't think I personally heard a word out of his mouth in a social media sense. So everyone's painting the picture of him, and he's some of it might be true, some of it might not, but everyone forms an opinion on Schoolboy, and some of it is grossly wrong, and some of it is accurate. And so, yeah, he would feel the pressure for sure. And I heard comments recently that he is feeling the pressure and struggling a bit, but he'll get through. Once you're in arm wrestling forever, and I don't think they're ever going to stop. So, and as Rob said, he is legit every day of the week. Finishing second in the Russian nationals and the under 21s is real. It's very real.
Without a doubt. I mean, I actually feel I'm just going to knock over a super chat real quick, and then I got a point to make on that. Joe Mama's come in. Nice one for like. Yeah, I'll tell you what. You take some abuse, Ryan. He's put Ryan only drinks Denny Sweat and Lucky Juice available at kilo for kilo supplements. Another fan there, Ryan.
Don't worry,
you got to pepper in Ryan Scott's ears now.
I missed that.
He soul sucked Ryan Scott. You got to pepper in some of that. Is that his name?
Ryan Scott, yeah, the milkman.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I just want to make sure you were looking confused, like I was talking about. There's only been 7,000 videos about him.
Yeah, well, it's talking at the same time, and then it's your sure effect that you've got going on with your voice that's making it hard to understand what you're saying. If you said "I believe in love," we'd call it a soundtrack right now with the way you're talking.
That is quite good. When you watch that back, Rob, you'll laugh. You'll laugh at that one, brother. That's quite good. You got a bit of an echo going on, and it's giving you the. That's quite good. That was a nice little move.
Oh.
Anyway, but we haven't talked about the side pressure enough here.
Go on it.
We got to get back to that a bit more, because there's, regardless of the arm PR situation, whether it's a valve lift or not, for me, that strength has real application to the way I pull. Whether it's the way you pull or the way other people pull, it's got genuine application to the way I pull. And my match with Ryan Scott is a good example. And one of the things that I wanted to say is that I answer a couple of people's question when they refer to the dangerous position and they refer to why would you ever go there. The first thing is I never go there deliberately. It's just a place that a strong opponent can take me. My intent when I pulled Ryan Scott was to force a hook, deny his top roll, and win in the most efficient and clean way possible, which you'll see in the other 2 rounds that I win, I do that. However, that 4th round, I failed to set the hook. He opened my hand. Our hands stabilized when I was about here. Okay, so my hand was secure then. And once my hand is secure in any given position, you can then trust that you can access side pressure. And as he top rolled open, he hit he hit the spot that is this application of training, which is right there, elbow, shoulder connected, a nice defensive wall. And then from there, it was very obvious to me, and I'm sure Ryan could feel it as well, that my side pressure was more significant than his was, and his bicep bled through and it came through. So I don't ever look to go there. And just like when I put up the video comparing John and Devon's use of this position, I remember when I went to Armwrestling, Neil, and pulled Anil Najran, and I spoke to Devon about going into the match, and I actually spoke to him about how he won that match against Taras, and he said, and Devon's in the chat, I'm sure he'll agree, that he didn't aim to get there. In the first round when he won, he tried the top roll, failed, and just ended up there.
Can I just make a point on that though, Ryan? If you notice the fundamental difference in what you're doing when you're training that position, okay, and what was done in all of those matches, it's in a static scenario. And this is really, really critical for you and your career, mate. In a static scenario, okay, it's nowhere near as dangerous. The way that you're applying that is you're trying to force through off the joint. In the case of John Brezink with Taras, number one, Ron Bath had already done that at that stage. The second thing with the other matches you mentioned, and many, many, many others, okay? But the Devon Larratt situation, he hung at the base in a static position until there was a level of fatigue put on his opponent. Once you feel that failing, that fatigue, which everybody's familiar with, even if you're in a very orthodox hook position or a defensive top roll, you'll feel that fatigue and you'll feel you gather them. Once you feel that, then the application is fine. What you don't want to be doing in training, and I would really stress to anybody, don't be training through the joint, trying to attack through the joint. It is not a good look, and you're gonna end up damaging yourself, brother. And you're moving huge weights, mate.
Like you said, I agree with you on that. I would never, and just for any novices, amateurs that listen to me and want to try to replicate this, yeah, I agree with everything Neil said. You don't use that. That is a reserve for your own willingness to essentially put a lot on the line in a match. And I've only done that on big matches where I'm willing to fight. When I took on Raimonds Antonovic and he defeated me, eliminated me from Zlotito, it was another moment. He got through it. I wasn't able to on that one. But it is about knowing your own connective tissue limits. And the longer you're in the sport, the more time you've spent in the different zones, you get a good understanding of your connective tissue limits. There's some arm wrestlers that just know it, i.e. people like Frode Haugland, in themselves, and there's some people that just would never dare go there. And you know your own body. And Neil, you
Frode the same. Frode doesn't drive through the joint. He will wait.
Neil. I don't drive through the joint. I will.
The arm PR you're forced to do though, mate. That's why I don't like that. Okay. On the arm PR machine, you are and it's damaging your joint. You say on it, it's inflammation central. It's broken shit central.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to pop in on about those spots that like John and Devon were similar.
Oh, we're losing you, Rob, mate. I think.
Am I in? Am I out?
You're there now, mate. You're there now.
All right. So one thing I'd like to say about that is there's probably still a lot of arm strength. They're not totally sideways on that. When they're in that kind of like flattened hand position, they're probably turning in a way that's a lot more bicep, forearm, arm, and stuff. It's not a chopping kind of coming sideways thing. There's probably an element of that, but I would say it's very little. Don's notoriously got that sticky arm, as does Devon, and it might look like it's the same, but it's not side to side.
Same with Hutchins.
100% that. For me, I know, like in describing my own, it's fingers. If my fingers are gone, I can't even access that position. I have to still be defeating my opponent's pronator at some point in the arc. And just before the death, if I stop their pronator, then I have access to complementing that stop with side pressure. And you'll see, like on Taras, his pronator was the thing gassing against John and Devon. And once his pronator was fully gassed, they came through and pinned. But yeah, I agree. There's far more to it. It's not just a single direction. It is for me, fingers plus pronation through my thumb to achieve a stop and then drive through his side once the door opens, as Neil says.
I feel like sometimes we get to a situation where certain things in arm wrestling become on trend, you know, and we all start talking about it. And sometime if the trend is bollocks, forget it, you know. And particularly because I think we've got a certain service as experienced arm wrestlers to be really clear to guys who are coming into the sport, like the question we had a moment ago about the regular gym training and so on. From you got to have some kind of insight that you're giving people about how to keep yourself healthy and safe in the sport.
Right.
And that particular lift is nuts.
Right.
Well, Uncle John says on his show when he was announcing the lift, he says it about 28 times. Please do not attempt this lift.
Yeah.
Please do not do this lift. He says it a million times.
Yeah, but like again, then why are we doing it to entertain people? I don't know. I love the idea. I love the idea of keeping everybody engaged and everything else. And I think that's cool. And I did the first one, but then I started getting like deep, like bicep insertion pain for like a couple weeks after that. And I'm like, all right, well, I have to still train for myself. I'm not going to do any more of these, especially side pressure.
We do it to showcase the different factors that are out there in the arm wrestling world and different styles of approaches people have. And this is an approach that I've taken. I've done it's a Todd Hutchins inspired approach, and it's one that I've been doing for 2 and a bit years now. So that's why it was in, because it was something that is done, albeit rarely, among only a few style of arm wrestlers, but it is something that I've done consistently for 2 years, to that being 1 RMs in a side pressure sense.
It's almost the balls move. I understand the whole test your frame and things like that, but your frame is tested in arm wrestling anyway. But there's a degree of longevity that you have to force yourself to respect. And if you start doing that kind of movement with that kind of weight, your career is going to be dramatically shortened, in my opinion.
Right. And like with the spike of social media, right. And like how much, like we are really getting people engaged right now. And I'm seeing it in the real world. I'm seeing people identify, like understanding that arm wrestling is a thing, like in my local life. And the fear is like, it's almost like talking about the King's move. At what point in time do we need to really be transparent about certain things when it comes to training and styles? And you ask Michael Todd, like, you know, he says he gets asked about training the King's move all the time. And he says, I've never trained the King's move in my life. I just don't want to lose. So when I get stretched, I fight there. So, and it's like, but we have new arm wrestlers who are immediately coming into the sport with no background in strength at all, getting a table and a pulley system and training side pressure.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to turn people away. It's scary.
Yes, I agree.
I think tomorrow is going to come out a video with the title "Ryan Bowen Needs to Be Stopped."
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
This is an intervention for Ryan. Ryan, just stop, okay?
So Stephen Penn has come in with a super chat. Thanks for your super chat, brother. And he's just put RBJ. This is for you, Rob. I'm tired of you smacking around everyone in your division. When will they give you a raise and bump up to face Jerry, Dave, and Devon, etc.? Well, I think you're branching out your wings anyway, aren't you, mate? In your own way, but
I mean, I had my time where I pulled heavyweight before I got injured, and I was on a pretty good run. And then when I got injured and there was money leagues, it was easier to be in a lighter class and eliminate some of those guys. But when I was running at what I felt like was a pretty good and healthy, I was doing well in the super heavyweights. But right now, with going to pull one of the best guys in the European pipeline is a far side.
We lost you for a few seconds. For 5
I'm gonna have
seconds.
to switch up my computers. This thing's fucked. I'm gonna change it. So
Okay.
I'll have to ring you back.
Even love after love, whatever it is.
For those who don't know what Rob's referring to, there is the match with Sasha Andreev, which we're looking to.
Yeah, let me try to ring you back.
You okay, mate?
It's
No problem.
annoying as fuck.
Just gonna hit another one.
Yeah.
Well, just before you go, mate, want to dwell on Joe Mama, fan of Ryan, has come in with a little super chat here. Thanks for that, mate. And he's put RBJ, check Massachusetts law, but I'm pretty sure as often as Ryan is on your nuts, you can charge him rent.
Squatter laws.
Tell you what.
Hey, what about the fact that RVJ's channel's grown because of all this nut swinging as well? Do you remember how much you bitched about my bicep curl?
Motherfucker, my channel grew because I'm legit, not because I'm some princess. Talk about how I could bust everyone's ass in the world. I've been building my reputation for 20 years. I'm not sitting there going, look at me. Oh, fuck out of here with that. Don't even, you can credit yours. I can't credit it to you. What do I got? Kangaroo Jack, Paul Hogan, and some other fucking guy from Australia might have subscribed to me. Not anyone. No, you didn't build shit.
Go sort your Wi-Fi out.
I've been trying to break up with you, man.
It's gonna be one of those long, awkward relationships.
I'm starting to feel that. I'm starting to get that sense that you're never going anywhere. Unless a meteorite hits Australia, you are going to be a pain in my ass for the next 20 years, aren't you?
Hey, I'm going to back him up with another ginger in a minute. We're going to get Jerry on here. But before we do, this is what I was going to come to earlier on. and I got cut off with a super chat and we never made the point. But Stephen Penn has come back in with another super chat. Mate, you are the king. And he's just put, Ray, what techniques or moves are you teaching Larry in order to beat Schoolboy? And do you honestly think he has a chance come May? And I'm just going to go back to the point I was going to make on that when we're talking about Schoolboy obviously needing to prove himself and so on. I actually think Larry's been given the poison chalice because that is a hard match. After that period of time in the sport, even with all his strength, all his athleticism, he's still massively inexperienced to pull a very legitimate arm wrestler. And I'll let you take over that question, Ray, as it's asked to you. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right. We don't have the best. The challenge is set and challenge is pretty hard. Of course, you know, if we were talking about any other arm wrestler on the planet, I would say, well, do some tournaments before, you know, have some real arm wrestling experience, and then, you know, then we'll see how you do, and then you will see where you fit in line with anyone else. But of course, this is not only arm wrestling. This is also marketing. But you know, Larry is a really fierce competitor. He really wants to win. So I legit believe we will have a chance on that day, on 28th of May. You know, because Larry is going to do anything needed. He's already doing anything needed that I ask of him. You know, talking about training. It's about what we're teaching. I'm teaching him to be more in the middle of all the necessary vectors, of all the necessary things. Like before that, he was only back pressure based, just 100% back pressure based. No, Ryan, no, not that. No.
Do not teach him that vector.
No.
But he was only back pressure. Like I showed him what is side pressure, and he's like, oh, this is side pressure. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, I just thought side pressure is just this, you know. And these things are kind of clicking. But
that's
more time on table.
There,
sorry, what?
You make a good point, mate, because if a newcomer watched the video where you're on the arm PR and you through the joint, that's what it looks like. You are literally driving through the joint. It's not that you're encapsulating shoulder. It's not that you're encapsulating body position in the movement, timing, elasticity, understanding of all those disparate elements that go to make up the move. And that's what's going to be broken down, you know.
Yeah.
It scares me.
Just to touch up on that subject and to finish up, all his table practices before has been like 2nd or 2-second matches. Like last Friday, we had like this Friday. So we had like real practice. Like each time he gets on table, it would be 30-second match, minute match, long, finding positions. Like he had longest practice that he has ever had. And he looked really good at the end of it. So we're not only working on his table IQ, endurance, and all those things, but just having real training. Because a lot of guys will just go and smash. And when you are a young guy and you don't get to work on table, move around, figure out where you're strong, where you're weak, and you're just trying to beat someone, it's a long road if you're not gifted. A lot of guys are gifted and they can do that and just don't care, you know?
Ray, where would you set the Vegas odds on this match?
Oh, I don't know. Because I have never pulled Schoolboy, but I can say that Larry I faced on February, this is different Larry. This is much stronger version about
right.
I don't know how many percent, but the Larry I faced last Friday and this Friday is even stronger version. So I really don't know.
Somebody set the odds. Somebody set the odds, and I'll tell you who I'm picking.
All right. If okay, we got. Personally, if I was setting the odds, having never pulled either of them, I would have Schoolboy at $1.80 and Larry at $2.40.
Got it right in the house.
Okay, that's fairly close, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonably close match. I think Larry's got the stronger fundamentals in that center table. The reason I have Schoolboy as a favorite is because Larry's just not neurologically efficient and experienced in defensive arm wrestling or being patient in the offense. As Neil put it the other week, he just needs to either pin. Currently, he just either pins fast or loses fast, and he hasn't that experience.
Well, why would you think he has stronger fundamentals? Why? Because he powerlifts?
That's my guess from what I'm seeing. He's starting to look like a professional arm wrestler from the center table. He's starting to move.
I mean, Schoolboy is a surprisingly big dude. He's like 250, like probably 6'4" or so. And if you watch his training videos, he is doing some impressive things in all the right ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know about how much I believe in all that.
Larry is lifting more. Just
let's bring Jerry in on this, mate. Jerry
on those lifts that Schoolboy is doing.
Yeah, but he's a weightlifter too. There's that.
Of course,
sometimes you get weightlifters that are never going to be good arm wrestlers because they've made a career out of being linear. They don't know how to do 10 things at one time. That the athleticism could be lacking. So that remains to be seen. But lifting more in the right way, like Schoolboy does, I'm not sure, and I don't know.
Who you got, Jerry? You think?
I think if you're talking about between Larry and Schoolboy,
yeah,
I think that the experience is going to give Schoolboy a tremendous advantage, and I think that obviously Larry's much stronger, but has he learned enough in that short amount of time to be able to be at the level that Schoolboy's at?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because as Jerry, I couldn't agree with Jerry more there, mate. I think, as I said earlier, I kind of feel really sorry for Larry in some ways because the guy's clearly committing hard to the sport and he's really trying hard. And the obvious media match, social media match, is against Alex because, you know, Schoolboy's big. He's got massive following. So it's like, oh, let's put him against Schoolboy. But Schoolboy, as Paul said, he's 6'5". He's improving rapidly. He's at the period of time where you can make great gains. You know, he's maturing fully. And he's a big man, naturally big guy. And I just feel like Larry, I'd love to see Larry do well in that match, but I don't think he can.
Don't you think part of it's a calculated pick for over 1 million subscribers?
Yeah.
Schoolboy had 5,000 subscribers, he would be on the fucking list.
Right.
If Herman fucking Munster had 1 million subscribers, he'd be in that match too.
Yeah, and I feel like Larry has taken in. The poor bastard has eaten humble pie so many times.
Right.
It's cruel.
Yeah, but I think that's a key factor because I don't think Larry is afraid to lose on camera.
No, don't be sorry for him. Don't feel sorry. He doesn't care. He's dedicated to the sport, and this match made sense for him on many things.
Right.
Like, guys, this is big event, and he invested his own money. It's not sponsor money that he invested in this event. So of course he wants to make his buck back. So
if you look at the two channels though too, and you really look at it, like Larry has a cameraman and an editor, and like he has financial backing and everything, and he pumps videos out almost daily. Arm Wrestling TV does very well also, but they might do a video every week, and it's done just by Alex and his brother. So like when you look at like who kind of has more on the line as far as the win or the loss, I believe Schoolboy does, because any tarnishing of his image at all as far as an elite arm wrestler is not good for them. So the motivation is really there for them. But then the flip side too is we know exactly what Larry's doing because we see everything. We haven't seen Schoolboy do anything except for that last training video like a week ago. So I'm not sure what he's been doing in Russia, and he doesn't have his big brother there to kind of keep him going. So there's a lot of factors there. That's why I asked for the odds, because I think it could go two different ways. If the general public, if a whole bunch of money comes in on Larry, somehow the odds could be even. But if the odds are being set by general arm wrestlers to give it like a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1, I'm betting on Larry. I'm betting on the dog.
So we'll just knock over a couple of super chats, guys, and then I want to take this forward a little bit in looking at it a different way. First of all, Matt Tickle Limits, Larry's just come in, mate. Thanks for your super chat. And he's put, RVJ, give us a bicep flex ready for you to smack Sasho. I think we'll probably do better than that. We'll go for a group bicep flex, guys.
I'm keeping him hidden. When I got under here, would make Ryan lose sleep for 3 days, and then in his sleepwalk, he would try a 200-kilogram side pressure and explode his shit, and I don't need that on my conscience.
Well, we've got Jerry Caderet in a vest, all Linn in a vest. Ray's already partway there to the bloody forest pose. Come on, show us some biceps, mate. Let's have a look. Look at that, yes. Look at Linn locking up.
Ryan, go ahead. Ryan, go ahead and flex.
Yeah, flex.
You cheeky man.
I think my camera's broken.
Oh my goodness.
Flexing doesn't count. It's this.
I thought you being a redhead, Jerry, you were going to be on my side, but clearly not.
I was on your side until you talked bad about me.
Hey,
When
Jerry,
did I talk bad about you?
World's strongest ginger.
Oh yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, I do want to be that's actually a legit goal. I want to be the world #1 ginger, and yeah, you need to get a little older, and I need to get a little better.
How many gingers you gonna go through? Are you currently the last place ginger?
Well, if there's only 3 on the planet, maybe.
Well, what? I think Jordan Sill's technically a ginger too, isn't he?
Is he a ginger?
I think technically he is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's
Jerry, I saw a super chat that referred to it, so I wanted to ask this question too of Jerry, and just to paint a little bit more context to it. This match with Larry, we're not going to encourage him to be doing this sideways jamming, but sometimes instincts come out, and let's face it, he's not going to out top roll Schoolboy. He's
holding him up with a solid position is one thing, and then fight back on power.
Let me finish the context. He's got to defeat Schoolboy's Pronator and then work out how to win. My first match in Armwrestling was against Anil Najran. I'd never pulled this way in my life, and yet it instinctively came out in me, and I won. What do you think, Jerry, of elbow-based last line of defense? You're someone who's used your elbow phenomenally. Do you train it? What are your thoughts on conditioning it? Yeah, give us your thoughts.
I don't know, because I think Larry, coming from a powerlifting background and only been doing arm wrestling now for how long has he been doing it? Less than a year, right? So I don't know if he's developed a tendon strength to be able to get into that position without hurting himself. So he's got a lot of muscle, but has he developed that tendon strength that the arm wrestlers develop as they do this more and more? I mean, I put myself in a lot of shitty positions, and in the beginning, it hurt immensely, but now as we even though I'm getting older, right? But you get accustomed to it, and I can withstand them more. I don't know if Larry's there yet. I mean, I'd love to see more of what he's able to do. I just keep my fingers crossed that if it doesn't go the way that he wants, he doesn't get discouraged by this. And you guys already were attacking that subject, saying that he's okay with losing. And I just don't know, you know what I mean? Because Schoolboy, like I said, he's been doing it for so long, right? But Larry is just so strong. So I answer your question, in a bad position, can Larry stay there? I would imagine that he's strong enough to do it, but what's it going to do to his tendon?
Yeah. Daniel, thank you for your for your super chat, brother. Really appreciate it. We're not trying to be like Jerry Springer. It's just there's nothing we can do. Sometimes these things come up, but I want to just pick up on what Jerry was saying there, because how many times have we seen extremely? I'm not talking about on TV. There are examples like Nathan Jones in World's Strongest Man, where we've seen very strong men get injured. But so many times you see guys that are big and powerful come into the sport. They've got a lot of arm strength. They try to do moves in an isolated, technically incorrect manner, and they end up damaging something, either seriously, broken arm, blow a tendon, whatever it may be, or just they create that much pain in their arm that they never want to go near an arm wrestling table again. And that's what worries me with Larry, because Larry he's got balls, number one. In a lot of his videos, you've seen him get to the red line shake effect. And that worries me greatly, because he makes the wrong move at the wrong time, hits at the same time as a guy's hitting in an opposing direction, and you could end up getting the guy seriously damaged. And I don't know whether it's worth it. I really don't. I
don't think that position will even come up.
I hope not.
Because if he gets cracked the way Schoolboy will crack him and pull him away, it's kind of like how Travis did all pulling those guys at the Expos, all those big, strong guys, and he would just kind of like roll high on their hand and pull them this way. Yeah. I don't think he's going to have the ability to slow that down once it's a one-way train. I think if he gets compromised palm up that way, he's not going to be holding in there on his joint like Ryan's talking about. He's just going to get pinned.
Yeah, that's something that'll only happen if it's in him instinctively, and that'll only like I said, it happened for me against Nil Najran. I didn't even know that was a way to pull, and yet I pulled like that in my first. But
the strength was close, mate, and the experience was close, and you could arm wrestle. I don't personally believe that it is close in this instance. I think that Alex is real enough, Schoolboy's real enough to create massive problems for Larry in terms of leverage and so on. As I say, I hope that I'm proven wrong and he's progressed a great deal with guys like Ray around him and the access he's had to really good arm wrestlers. Maybe he can make enough gains to harness some of the strength we know he has. But let's look at it another way, okay? Jerry, when you came into the sport, you're about as unorthodox as it gets, right?
Thanks.
And your style was developed for, well, how many guys can emulate what you do? There ain't many. From the start, there ain't many. Now, you got that from carrying concrete forms and things like that, just unusual strength. But at what point did you start having real success against world-class competitors? Or at what point did you put yourself into that situation? Because you're obviously an extremely strong lad when you started.
Yeah, no. I mean, I started out strong, and I think, I just reverted to that move, because it was comfortable for me, and it didn't pose pain, and it was almost natural for me, right? So, and I think I started doing really well, 94 or 96.
And how long have you been pulling then?
What's that?
How long have you been?
Yeah, I started at the end of 89. So, so 4 or 5 years in, and then I would bring it up to a much higher level.
So we're fast tracking the living daylights out of Larry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that was what my fear was, is it gonna, I think it's too much too quick, right? For him. I think he should have took on, other people that were not as experienced as him, that showed, good signs that they would be strong or they would be competitive in the sport. But I think that, Schoolboy's been doing it for now, what's it been, 8 years?
Since he was a baby.
Maybe more. Young. And everyone's forgetting how fast that kid is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's so solid and fast off the start. I mean, it's going to be very hard, even if you're close to him, to bang a position with him.
Right.
Yeah, the closest I've come to Schoolboy is watching him pull Danny Tesh. When Schoolboy was only, I think, 16 or 17, he pulled Danny Tesh. And even at 16, Danny had to work hard against Schoolboy. So
impossible.
Danny made
what you are saying is full of lies.
Yeah. Blaspheme.
For anybody in the chat that's wondering what happened there, I know exactly what happened. Danny actually was distracted because he had to actually cure a blind man.
Yeah, he had to drink water into wine.
Yeah.
We
I'd
talked with Larry
actually-
about all this. Yeah,
Sorry.
all right.
When we're talking about elbow conditioning, Danny was one of those weirdos that kind of like you, Jerry. You came with an obscure strength straight away, being your natural position. He was one of those guys, and it is a rare thing to have the obscure strength. Like, do you know, Jerry, what your elbow can take? Like, is this a lift or is it a lift?
Well,
I did.
That was a question I was going to ask Jerry early on, because that was, we started talking about that stuff prior to them coming on. So, Jerry, like, do you, outside of the table, ever train your press? Because I know you have a mega hook. Everyone who knows arm wrestling knows your hook is crazy. So, is there a time where you are like in actual training in the gym or on like a pulley system where you train the press?
Yeah, I have a few exercises that I do to work on the press.
Okay.
And so obviously I got to do it, right? Because I mean, I get put in that position when I go against an elite level opponent. They don't want to go inside, they want to go outside, but I'm comfortable enough that I allow it to go outside and still give up my wrist.
Right.
And I'm in a comfortable position, you know? So yeah, to answer your question, I do some weird stuff.
I'm
But isn't
interested
it kind
to
of
know
a
more.
misconception that you have to train side pressure? Isn't arm wrestling by nature, doesn't it have to be a side pressure move to finish someone? I would think even like almost every good arm wrestler on the planet probably has really good side pressure.
Yeah, I
naturally.
think you're right too. But I think that, you know, if you're going to do something, you want to do something competitive.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking, basically that was Ryan thinking that the side pressure is such a specialized, you know, he was a chosen one to have this elbow that he's gifted with.
Yeah, well, for me, fundamental arm wrestling, which Rob is a great example of being at the pointy end of it, it comes down to the biomechanics that you're gifted with. If you've got a big, broad hand, straight away containment, wrist flexion, pronation are going to be something that you're going to be good at. John Brzenk, another great example of fundamental dominance and not the need to have this odd dominance down here. But if you're not the bigger handed guy, if you're not in that leverage advantage, you're going to have to balance the situation if you're to be competitive. And so there's no point in me trying to out pronate and out back pressure Rob. There's just, if I fought that effort, it would just be a donation. So you have to have the balance in some circumstances, and it's going to come down to the biomechanical balance point. And you got to know yourself. You got to gauge yourself relative to the people you're chasing. And often for me, what I think defines the arm wrestler you become is the people that are better than you in your club that you chase most of the time. For me, that was Jordan Davis in a top roll sense. I can't top roll Jordan. And because of that, I started developing this. If I had a short guy in my club, that was my guy that was the hard one to chase, I'd probably still be a top roller. But the people around you shape you. And I think biomechanically, side pressure is one of those things that is a weapon. And ultimately, if your fundamentals are balanced, if you go into a match and you don't know where you're at with someone and you try to fundamentally win and it's balanced, I think there's two decisions you can make. One, either stay with the fundamentals and win the lactic acid battle, or be the person that changes to the non-fundamental arm wrestling and successfully disengages the fundamentals. You make that decision first, you're connected to the side pressure lane, your opponent's not connected, and you potentially win. So yes, you can be elite with all fundamentals. Yes, you can be elite with all non-fundamentals, or you can balance and mix the two. Part of the thing, part of what makes the sport beautiful.
Who's the elite without fundamentals?
Oh, the guy you're about to face is probably one of the best examples of.
Are you out of your? You are crazy. You're saying Sasha doesn't have fundamentals?
Chill, Mr. Rob Vigent. Chill, Mr. Rob Vigent. Not saying Sasha doesn't have fundamentals. I'm saying 80%. Look, when he goes into the match against you, he's not going to try to do this to you. He is not going to try to do that.
This isn't the only fundamental.
He's going to contain here, and he's going to look to drive there. That's what Sasha is going to look to do.
That's a hooking fundamental.
But he's going to put his tendons on the line. He's going to try to stop you with his tendon. He's not going to try to out bicep you.
Don't think you see the way that guy's built with his chest and shoulders and everything? That's all coming into play. Don't think he's just sitting there pivoting off an elbow like you're trying to say.
If you think I'm saying that that this style of arm wrestling involves no fundamentals, you're missing my point entirely.
Well, that's
like
what
I
you
said,
said. You said
never,
there's
ever.
elites with fundamentals and elites
People
without them.
doing this style of arm wrestling don't just donate and go there. They make their opponent work through everything they can. They try to arm wrestle fundamentally, ultimately lose because of inferior power, inferior leverage, whatever. They lose that. But at the end of the line, rather than just being defeated, they engage with tendons and side pressure and shoulders and elbows, and they block like Jerry does, like Todd Hutchins does, like Sasha does. And that is a valid style of arm wrestling. People have become world champions using that, and they will continue to, as well as the fundamentals. Rob, John, they're fundamental arm wrestlers that if they're better than the guys, that there's no point in them ever going here because
yeah, but you keep going like this is fundamental. This is kind of like making no, like Rustam Babayev probably top rolled 10 people in his career, and he had extreme fundamentals. Same thing with Zoloev. Sasha has extreme fundamentals, just not in the classical top roll.
Right.
Wrestling,
fundamental hooking,
top rolling very different to fundamentals for hook. Well, not very different, but a set of different principles, as it is for the press, as it is for the Kings, as it is for various things. But just before we explode, guys, let me knock over a couple of super chats because I feel like we're going to get carried away with this one. First of all, Matt Tickle My Limits Larrett, thanks, mate. He's put, when is my man Paul Linn going to go crack some people? Want to see him, Paul. He's looking great. Also, everyone, like and subscribe for the channel. This is great stuff. Thanks, mate. Well, Paul, have you got anything big in America? Because we plan on getting over here.
Everything's up in the air. I don't know. It's hard to really circle something. We got our event coming up in Pennsylvania on the 26th, Keystone States. I'll be running that, but I don't know. I mean, we got the IFA Nationals. I don't know.
It's funny because Joe Mama's just come in and he's gone, Neil, please, for RVJ Sasho card, give us Paul versus Ryan. Show us that Paul can triumph over Dennis Sweat and Lackey Sauce. That's a bit harsh, mate. That's a little bit harsh there, Joe.
You know what match I like? If you got Paul out there to pull Plowman.
I love that match. I like that match as well. But I also remember.
Bring it out. We'll have two Americanos. So I'm not the only bad guy in the house.
Maybe I'll make us good guys, Rob. Don't worry.
Yeah. You're the one everyone likes.
Battleground. So
You'll
Ryan,
be the face. You'll be the face.
Ryan and Ray in the battleground, guys. So keep your heads on that one. Stephen Penner's back in. This Tickle Malaric guy needs to stop thinking he's going to beat me on the donation war. Anyway, RVJ, when are you going to beat Ryan and make sure you rip your shirt off? Oh,
Did you say make sure he rips my shirt off? Is that what
no, his shirt, mate.
Oh,
I think he's.
Who knows, right? If WAL fires back up next year, but nothing in the immediate future. And the way Ryan's making progress, I will most assuredly duck him and retire after October.
So Jay Hoolin's coming with a super chat, which is pretty much directed exactly at what we've been trying to get to. And it's to Jerry. So Jerry's, but what is your actual opinion on the shoulder-committed, flat-handed sideways drive? So just for Jerry's purposes, have you seen the arm PR footage, mate? The new stuff where it's basically this position, strapped on the bottom of the palm, complete sideways through the joint, as much weight as you can move. That's basically what they're referring to, and want to know what your opinion of training like that would be.
I do some practice like that. I set it up on the cable crossover machine. We put as much weight as we can on there, and we move the table further and further away to make it heavier and heavier. So I like it.
Psycho.
Well, I like to practice with it. We're to the point where we do the full rack, and then we throw as much weight, like dumbbells, on the top of the cable crossover machine as we can.
And just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody who wasn't aware of this is coming from Jerry Caderet, a man who also pokes the fire with his cock.
Oh, man.
Mate, you're a
Gotta love Neil.
You're originally from Brisbane, are you, Jerry?
Stay away from that place,
mate. If you went to don't go to Brisbane. Michael Todd's fucked. You go to Brisbane. Just on that, Michael Todd's training partner in the mother fluffing house, Corey the Gorilla West. How you doing, big lad? And he's put, smile a little, mate. We can't smile. There's too many serious topics on here for that. And Matt's just come in. Matt Tickle My Limit Larrett's come in with another one. Jerry, who you got, Michael or Devon? We were coming to this all night. And he's put, you're the man. Jerry, ready for you to face the winner. Love you. So you got a big fan in Matt Tickle My Limits Larrett, mate. But yeah, you got Devon or Mike on the 28th?
I'm going to go with Michael. I think Michael's training really hard. I think just looking at Devon, I don't know. I don't think he's. I think he's smarter than Michael, but I think if Michael prevents Devon from pulling some antics, I think Michael is ready. And which I'm eager to see anyway. I want Michael to go ahead and win, and then I want to go ahead and have our rematch, because I don't want to have to take on Devon and then have to show Michael how easy it was to beat Devon.
Well, James Statham's just come in, mate. Good friend of mine, James, and he's put, Jerry, how many times have you asked Steve Kaplan to let you get hold of Mike when the WL starts back up again? Have you spoken to Steve about
that? I have had a lot of chats, right? And I definitely 100% am eager and ready to have that rematch whenever, so I just pray it's happened soon, because I mean, Michael's sitting in my seat, which sucks.
Well, he's Daniel Ulrich's come in and he's put, why shoot for strongest ginger? Why not for strongest of all hair colors? Jerry Carteret is definitely going after that one. And I wanted to just put up there with you, mate. About
happens to be cool.
What somebody potentially getting to face Levan Saganashvili in September, if he's been inactive that long. Now, if Mike's already committed to a match, is that something you'd like to do? Because I know you were talking about
Levan around.
Stars. Yeah, Levan and yourself.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind smacking him around. I already told him I put up one of my cars against whatever one he's got.
You did. But anybody who doesn't know that, get on in the Presence of Greatness shows and check that out, because that happened. Yeah. Betting cars. Aussie arm wrestler Jake Ward in the house. Jake, thanks for tuning in, mate. I think it comes down to Larry's panic mode. This is going back to what we were talking about earlier on the danger factor there. How he reacts in a losing position and forgets everything Coach Ray has taught him. Yeah. And then he's put also ready, bang. That's Jake. So yeah, he makes a good point though. That is exactly what can happen with new pullers who are big and strong. They can get into that panic mode, make a mistake, move at the wrong time, and things go in the dark. And
Ray, do you have a low hand top roller in Dubai that's tall to shadow box with him to spar for this match? Like, is there anyone there like Schoolboy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not something we're aiming right now. Like, he's used to arm wrestling someone stronger. I want him to get as much control on the table as possible. So the previous practice we did on Friday, he just arm wrestled guys that were strong, but he could move around easily. So he get those reps in and things like that. And comes closer, I will emulate his style. We have some more guys, and we're working on that.
Would you describe Larry as I don't want to give away strategies or anything like that, and feel free just to say what close to chest, but is he looking for the kill, or is he looking to contain?
He's looking to stop. He's looking to stop the match. Larry is strong when the match is stopped, but you need to stop the Schoolboy. That's the idea. I don't see fresh Schoolboy. There's no chance Larry can topple him. Like I think he's just too slick, too fast, and too good. But if you stop him, you drain him a little bit, opens up a lot of possibilities.
There you go, Daniel Ulrich. That's answered your question, mate. He'd put, is Ray still breathing? Can you check on him? I'm worried. No, Daniel, you got to understand Ray's like he's a predator. He's a Latvian. most of the time,
Doesn't
he
make
just
any
blends
sense.
in with his surroundings and then pounces. The man lives with cats, Daniel. I don't know what I've told everybody, but
Ray fucking loves cats.
Yeah.
And
I
cats
tried to
love
run
him.
some here. They said they don't do
not to
that.
rent
Yeah.
cats.
They understand something else when I asked for cats because I didn't say cat. They said that you can get here.
Oh, Courage has just come in with a super chat, guys. $6.99 chat. Thanks, mate. And he's put, all this makes me wish Rob and Ryan would have pulled. Also, Jerry Carteret kills Gennady Quickvenia when it happens. Mate, that match is another one that does that. Let's say, for example, in September, we do see some action with Levan Saganishvili, and he was to pull Mike. What a second headliner that'd be if we got you and Gennady Quickvenia together. Because I'll tell you what, mate, that is a match that has got to go down.
Says you.
It's got to go down. Well, I mean, it's got to go down. We need to talk about that, mate. Opportunity knocks potentially at the Arnolds. So, yeah.
Set it up.
I want it, mate.
I don't want to. We glossed over one thing before. I want to kind of put a bit of pressure back on Rob and the comment section in the YouTube area. Who people are failing to notice that Jerry actually said that he does the lift, the same sort of training that elbow tendon conditioning, and that there's obviously real value for it. And I think a lot of people in the comment section are passing in Jerry saying, "Well, Jerry's Jerry," and they're still ridiculing me. Rob, what do you think about the fact that Jerry mentioned earlier 5 minutes ago that typically
I think he does a level of side pressure training that emulates how he pulls in a tournament, which isn't what you're doing. I think that Jerry's moving weight, how he would move arms on a table.
I agree.
And it's not the same as what you're doing in an arm PR. And Jerry, being 30 years deep in a sport, has learned to what feels right and what doesn't. Sometimes a different little micro movement or something. Trying to isolate a side pressure elbow to move a weight to show your elbow strength, I would be hard pressed. I'd have to go to the gym with Jerry to believe that that's what he's doing, because I don't. I think he's throwing his big ass chest and shoulders behind it and moving the cables like he's moving people's arms. Jerry is arm wrestling on the table. You're trying to move weights to show how strong your elbow is. That's different.
Yeah, and I think the fundamental difference is there that Jerry does know how to shape his body to move the weight, and guys at that level will know how to do that.
You guys don't think that the position I was in was the position, the critical moment that when I pulled Ryan Scott.
I will let you hit that position 10 out of 10 times, and I will say my prayers to my lucky stars. That is a horrible position to try to even think about being in.
Like I said, it's like Jerry says, like Michael says, you don't go there deliberately. It comes to you when you're unable to win a certain fundamental lane.
Spend your time training how not to get there.
It's a static position, mate. It's a static position, and the move it just is, buddy. If you think that you are utilizing that in an isolated joint position, that is categorically bullshit, brother. You just don't. And if you do, you need to give your head a wobble, mate, because you'll hurt yourself. You hold that position and utilize body shaping to move the arm. You do not drive.
Rest assured, Neil, I have a very good understanding that it's not one single thing that's going on.
But in the arm PR, that is what you're doing, mate. You can see it. In the arm PR, you are literally you're getting out of shape, terrible position. You're not paying attention to that elasticity. That's
it's still a component that elbow in that arm PR lift, that elbow is still a component of the pull. When it comes to table time, when it comes to a tournament, you arm wrestle very differently to what we do on the cable. But at the end of the day, the cable is the cable. I can't make the cable attack my pronation at the same time. I can't make the cable do all these other things. So it is a component that when I bring it to the table is one that I want to have developed. And 80 kilos on my elbow sounds very scary to people who haven't done it, but it's been a gradual process. And do you really do you want me to not progress on it?
You won't, Ray. Go.
Ryan, did you have shoulder problems? Like real shoulder problems, talking about surgery and stuff?
Yeah, about 6 months ago.
What happened with that?
Rather than so that came about because of the preparations for a match with Gunther's Bikos, where I believed he had way more fundamentals than me, and my only chance was to throw my shoulder aggressively. So I opened my shoulder deliberately too much table time and inflamed that, gave that deep inflammation. So I went too hard at it for too long. It was an overuse in that sense.
That's what we are talking about. It's not that you shouldn't train that. You should just not do it 110% when your arm is snapped backwards and things like that. Of course you're going to use it, of course you use it in a match, but I don't think you use it at 80 kilogram power. You use it maybe at 40 kilogram power because there's rolling on hand and rotation. It's just the thing that we're concerned about. Is just don't do it. Like, this should not be a max lift. It should not be a max lift. It's like, if I'm lifting something with my, let's say I'm rowing something with my fingers. So as soon as my hand breaks, I cannot lift anymore. Now we're talking like, either if you move it, you're at basically the end line of your joints. That's the problem, dude. We're not talking like you shouldn't train that. You should train that. Not never maxes.
I had a chat with Rob on the phone earlier tonight before he came on. He can verify what I'm going to say. I said, look, I really like Ryan as a guy. He's my friend. This is exactly what I said. Rob, did I or did I not say this to you?
I don't remember that part, but
Okay,
you can talk about Ryan.
Okay, there's a couple of slight differences. I went on and I says, Ryan's a cunt. And I didn't. I went on and I said, I really like Ryan. He's my friend, and he's going to break his frigging arm if he's not careful.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Because you don't want. Listen, mate, I enjoy watching you progress. I think you're a fantastic arm wrestler, and I want to see you progress, and I want to see you have a long, successful career. And if you continue to do that kind of thing, I don't think you will. I think your job will be shot for 5 years, and you'll struggle. I think
I'll take all that on board, and I'm happy to disagree on components of it. And at the end of the day, we all have to listen very carefully to our own bodies. And my body talks to me in where its inflammation levels are, how quickly I can recover, what I can handle. At the end of the day, this sport is going to ask us to put our body in positions that are risky, that are dangerous, that are. Every strength sport on the planet is living on the edge of injury, and the best in the world, unless you are the ultimate gifted guy that just does it easy, has to live close to injury in order to become the best possible athlete you can. And that's just something that I'm willing to do. And if I get injured someday, I'll deal with it. But given my goals,
knock on wood, this will end up on Ryan Bowen Delusions Part 4 or 6.
Yeah, Pradeep Singh is splicing this video right now.
Look, the whole badge of honor stuff. I mean, look at me, for Christ's sake. I'm like a patchwork quilt. I've been sewn together big time. I'm all into that. I've raced motorbikes and fallen off and smashed myself to shit as well. But at the end of the day, you don't have to arm wrestle badly and in unusual technical form in order to get stronger and progress. And if your body cries out to you and says, mate, put yourself into this horrific position, which is likely to kill you, you cry out back to your body in a smaller voice and go, fuck off. No.
I mean, it is okay to lose, I don't know. The idea of having to put yourself in a bad position just for the sake of not losing, you can always go train, get stronger, learn. That's what experience is, and come back at 1%, 2%, 5% stronger that might win that match. You don't go throwing yourself in a break arm position saying, I refuse to lose. That's stupid. There is a time in a boxing match they throw in a towel, because they throw in the towel, that kid may come back and win a championship. They don't throw in the towel, he may go to the hospital and never wake up.
And it's longevity. It's coming back, and it's having opinions are going to vary, but my opinion on this, and if I was teaching any arm wrestler, it would be down the lines of, look, there's no shame in losing an arm wrestling match. It's an arm wrestling match, and however good you are, you're going to lose a few. What I would say in that situation is learn to get yourself into better techniques and better versatility, so you can find a way through that without having to drive that hard in bad position.
Honestly, I really consider myself one of the most versatile arm wrestlers among arm wrestlers that I know. I am comfortable pulling in every single position. And depending on the shape of my opponent biomechanically, I'll go to where I think is the most efficient. I just have this as an option. It's one of the options I've had from the beginning. And like Jerry said, in his, he just felt comfortable and felt pain-free. I don't know if you guys think that I feel more pain than I am, but I go where the comfortable lane is when it's demanded. I've been there only in matches, maybe 3 or 4 times, and it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't. It never has. And if an injury surprises me, okay, it does, but it doesn't hurt me to do that. It doesn't.
That kind of injury is going to be a nasty one too. That's
If
gonna
it lets go when you've got 80 kilos on there, it's going to let go in a really big way. And you can damage things. You know, it's training in a situation where you're paying attention to the elastic limit. When you're training somebody to arm wrestle, you don't train them to throw the shoulder in there with reckless abandon. Good arm wrestlers pay attention to elastic limits, and they pay attention to linearity, and they pay attention to timing. That is arm wrestling. That is the skill of arm wrestling. That's why unbelievably strong men, world's strongest men competitors, come in and they struggle to get that nuance and skill that it takes to be an arm wrestler. I mean, people can look at guys like Todd Hutchins and maybe misread him and think that he's just about raw power, brute force, and ignorance. And if you do, you're missing the gold. That is a very, very, very technical arm wrestler who understands the mechanics of exactly what he's doing. And he applies it in a very diligent manner. He is not just brute force and ignorance. He's got a gang of power to back up what he's doing, but he's doing it very, very technically. And that's the thing. It's understanding that nuance.
Can I touch on that about Jerry as well?
Sure.
So what people don't look at Jerry when they think the parallel with Jerry being a side pressure guy is he's probably one of the fastest heavyweights ever. And he's very smart with where he lines up. He's not lining up from here. He's smart with lining up where he's almost triangulated off the start. And with his shoulders as wide as they are, he's starting the match. By the time he gives you that hand, he's already at a positive angle driving on you. So his drive is still huge chest, shoulders, tricep, and that joint, like a little bit of the recipe. But it's not the same. It's a side pressure move, but where you feel Jerry is that down. As soon as he gets the laying on it, it's there's more than meets the eye there than just him jumping on his elbow.
And I agree with you guys 1,000,000% on that. And if you listen to the words I say, I always say there is a million things going on to it. When novices ask me, is this just elbow? I say, no, it's fingers, it's pronation, it's drag, it's shoulder, it's elbow. It's all of these things. And it's feeling and knowing the timing, the movements, all that sort of stuff, like you said, Nick. That's, I get that. 100% I get that. I find it bizarre that people want to tell me that what I'm doing is dangerous and the longevity is no good. When there's been multiple examples, you guys are talking about Sasha, Jerry, Todd, that do this, among other things. And that's just one of the things that feels good for me as well. Like it's not.
Ryan, do you have kids?
I'm not going to change it.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, too.
You have kids, right? So when your kids are like climbing a tree and doing something stupid and you can already see it's going to happen, they're going to fall and bust their ass. And you're like, get out of there, you fall and bust your ass. And they're like, no, I'm fine. That's what you sound like right now. You got people with like 100 years of experience telling you this is fucked up. And you're going, this is bizarre. I know everything.
Like I said, I engaged with Todd Hutchins as my direct coach for a 12-month period.
Yeah, and as soon as you lost its law, you abandoned his principles and hit up Pazzi.
No, I didn't. I've been training Todd's principles constantly. I just no longer needed him guiding every single day. That's the thing. Todd has laid the foundation. I've been influenced by listening to Lachlan Adair, and he was influenced by the Latvian system. And so that really is the platform for me. I understand the way I allocate my training in terms of max efforts and recovery and volume is Todd Hutchins' platform for me. I apply that on the table. But for me, I think that's actually the best way to do it. I try to take a Todd Hutchins style approach to my table training.
Just out of interest, Ryan, when you say that Lachlan, took on the Latvian influence,
does Lachlan have a cat?
He
No, he's got a
He
massive
doesn't have a
dog.
cat. He needs
He's
a
got
cat.
a dog that weighs like 70 kilos.
I mean, you can get a really short-haired cat, you know, so it's faster.
Does Lachlan do this lift? Does Lachlan make this lift?
No, Lachlan's like you. Lachlan's elbows never needed. He just wins the fundamentals dominantly.
It's the
Well,
speed.
I'm pretty sure Lachlan's got a strong elbow just from the nature of pulling.
But yeah, he would have a strong elbow, but he doesn't. He seeks victory by being dominant here. Like I said, the people he's chasing, and he's not chasing anyone with stronger fundamentals in Australia. There's no one with that for him. So he just keeps making his fundamentals better. If he was up against someone with fundamentals better than him, he would have to ask the question, where's the shortest path to victory? Is it to chase the fundamentals that I can't catch, or is it here? Like we're defined by the people we're chasing.
If you just out, you know, just to add a little bit of fact to that, if you are in fact chasing Lachlan today, you should probably give up because that man is
Fast as fuck.
you ain't gonna catch it. Anyway, we're
Never
beating
gets
the
old.
side pressure thing to death, so we're gonna
Yeah.
knock over a couple of super chats and then go on to some other areas. First of all, Stephen Pennant with a super chat. He's put, Neil, just create your own league so all these matches can already happen. Steve, and I actually do already have one, mate. I've got a league called Arm Wars. If you go online, you'll check that out, mate. Some really cracking matches in there with some big name pullers in it. Joe Mama has come on. Super chat from Joe. Thanks for that, mate. He's just put, Ray, what's your opinion on young kids doing side pressure exercises? Holy shit, we're back.
No, you don't do that. Like if young kids need to get like, depending on how young you are, let's say under 14 years old. So you're still developing in your strength zone. Your bones are getting a lot, everything, you know, just coming together. Most important part is stable practice and getting a little bit stronger, because all that strength that you gain in 12, 13, 14 years old, it all will come back in 15, 16 when the puberty hits. So all you need to do is get a lot of work on table, understanding techniques, good techniques. Like just look at Kazakh kids. They look like destroyers of the world, you know? So, and that's what they mostly do. All the weights they can lift doesn't matter, because you kind of can access it right now, but all the work you did when you were younger, it will come back when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, and you will be better. I have seen this many times when young kids, like guys start really young and they're really bad for first 4 years because they're just physically weak. And then it all comes together and they just jump like 5 levels ahead of everyone.
Is that the real? Is that the real Angan in the comments?
Where are you looking, brother?
No way.
No.
Can't
He said
be
he
in the
wants
middle of an
invited,
hour.
yeah.
No.
That's engine.
Psycho. Let's have a look. So let's move on from the side pressure thing for a minute, guys. And I just want to bring the chat round to what happened yesterday. And I want to start with Chance Shaw, because Chance Shaw's getting impressive. And you've had recent experience with Chance Shaw, Jerry. You've pulled him in practice, and he's got a big match coming up against Ron Bath. And I wanted to sort of just get your go around and get people's opinions, how we feel that match is going to go.
I practiced with Chance and felt good, felt strong. Unfortunately, I didn't get him until I'd already been pulling for like an hour. He conveniently broke his car and showed up late.
Nice move. High level.
So I got some good table time in with Carl Stanley and a bunch of the other guys that were there. And then Chance showed up, and I still could feel what he had because I was his first guy that he was going against. And yeah, no, he feels really good, feels solid. I asked him to go on a hook. He doesn't know how to go on a hook. He literally just wants the top roll.
Yeah, he's a great low hand top roller, isn't he? Loves that.
Yeah, no. He's great with the leverage. He knows how to use his height to his advantage, and he's definitely capable of beating Ron. If Ron's not paying attention.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, he's got results against Jordan and did again yesterday, but in both instances, we've seen Jordan and Ron had pulled initially a super match against each other the first time that Chance pulled them. So I think that takes some of the shine off. That's not to sort of knock Chance. He's a very, very good arm wrestler. He couldn't
how did Chance
side pressure.
How did Chance do with Jordan?
He actually got a win against Jordan yesterday, but Jordan
did.
pulled the 209
It is.
prior,
Yeah.
which is incredible. He must have balls and legs because he was literally 125 kilos.
All right. There's a couple factors. There's a couple factors, and I talked to Chance today. So I even saw a video of Jordan's weigh-in. He did make the 209 class with the 5-pound weight allowance, and he made it. So he cut weight. I think he weighed 230 the day of competition. But Chance did beat him. He beat him with the buckle on his hand, and he did it with a posted top knuckle, which is different than what Chance normally does. And I guess this is just like we said, this is the second time. And Chance also said that after the match, Jordan said he would gladly put up $2,500 to pull him in a super match. So that might happen. It might not. But Jordan wants the match.
Yeah, I'm sure he does because he's proud at the moment and he's doing well. Now, what do you think, Paul? You've got a lot of experience with those guys. Do you think, similar to Jerry, that it's possible for Chance, but who would you back?
I mean,
against Ron, super match.
I think it really comes down to how serious Ron takes it, and I think Ron's going to take it real serious. But I do think that, like, with Chance's low hand style and Ron seeming to want to grab the whole hand, it does make Ron's lane a little bit trickier against Chance. I wouldn't be surprised if Chance steals around here or there, or maybe even pulls out a win. But I think if Ron is super, like, in tune with the ways that he's going to have to beat him, I mean, it's Ron. But Chance has a chance. I mean, he's still young, you know.
Yes,
he's still really young, and he's not going to get mad at me for saying this, but he's lazy. So if he ever decides, and if he has been deciding to train more and dedicate more, he could be really, really, really good.
I think it's fair to say that Chance looks like he's got a very, very similar cardio regime
To myself.
Which basically involves running to the Chinese takeaway, then walking back. Yeah, it looks like that. Yesterday,
taxi back.
yeah, in a taxi bag. That's true, Ray. None of that walking bollocks. You don't want to be into the fat burning zone, do you? Nobody needs that in their life.
Never.
We got a lot of love coming in for RBJ in the chat. Armchair arm wrestlers. RBJ is the Bob Ross of analogies. RBJ all day. A lot of love in there. And we got a bit of hate for me. Neil is a twat. Love it. Here we go. Daniel Ulrich. He's put, I would still love to know how many times Jerry about bit his tongue off. Serious question. Sorry, mate. I thought you were joking earlier on. Yeah, have you actually bitten your tongue, Jerry, during a match?
No, I've never bit my tongue. I have trouble. Mom, get a ride with him.
We got a super chat from CPT Madge, or CPT MAJ, however you want to pronounce that.
Mom,
chat, brother.
Ma,
Oi, Bowen, keep the good work. I love the willingness to fight anyone. Pick up channel awesome too. Thanks, brother. You can't knock Ryan's.
You're not gonna walk
on that, and it's
give her a ride to her car.
Serving well. Joe Mummer's coming with a super chat. Neil, there's a special event at RVJ Sasho. Can you give us who has the worst wardrobe contest between Ray and Chance? I love you, Ray. And Ray's just left to get a new shirt.
I didn't think Ray dressed poorly. I thought he was pretty slick.
Pretty sexy, isn't he? Ray's like, yeah, he's like sharp dressed man. All in Latvia. There you go. There you go, son. That's what we need in a life. You'd seen the super chat, hadn't you? When it came in, you fucker. Absolutely tremendous. So I want to get Rob Vigent Jr. Rob, who you going with? Chance or let's go both actually, because I want to know.
Well, I'm gonna
Gordon as well.
I'm gonna mirror exactly basically what Paul said. Mm-hmm. I think if Ron Bath is in tune with what he needs to do, and I think that based on how Chance pulls, if Ron posts with him, he can have a real easy day. But if he tries to kind of match that low hand and play that game, and he could get himself in trouble. I think that, maybe the last times we've seen Ron out, he's, I don't know what he's got going on, new relationship, traveling the country, probably not putting in as much training. But he's got a little bit of a fire under his ass because he took a loss that he didn't want to take,
Yeah.
you know, I think he could make it an easy day, and he's got the tools to do it. But it's going to be, you know, depending on how he approaches the match.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Chance. I just know by what I see.
What about Chance and Jordan, mate? How do you fresh?
I think the same thing. If Jordan shows up smart and pulls him how he needs to, he's got the tools and the strengths in the right ways to win that match. Maybe even easy.
Yeah,
I think it's both of theirs to lose. I just don't think that if those guys are pulling smart and there's zero circumstances around it and a lot of incentive, I think that he is the underdog in both those matches.
How highly do you guys rate Robbie Burnett? I rate that mother. I think Robbie is strong as balls, mate.
I think Robbie wasn't undefeated at that event, because I think there was like bounties out on Chance and they had something like, can anybody in Texas beat Chance and Jordan? And I think he beat them both.
I think he's underrated. I think he's
and he's light. He's losing weight too. He used to be a really big guy. He's getting kind of fit.
He's Robbie, Paul.
I mean, I know he was like last time I seen him face to face at the Arnolds, I think he was 300 pounds plus, but he's not that tall. I don't know how much he weighs now, but he is definitely trimmed up significantly.
Yeah, and I mean, he's had some really impressive wins against guys like, you know, Paul Passmore prior to Paul's injury, which Paul
that was it. That was the injury.
I was going to say, wasn't it him that he was going against when he injured him?
He's really underrated. Flies.
Didn't he beat Muratola or that guy at the Arnolds?
Yeah, Aslanov or whatever.
Aslanov
from Arafajan. Yeah, I can't even say it. Yeah, he did. He was in the finals with Marcio.
Yeah, Marcio was the only guy to beat him, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I practiced with Rob Burnett last year down in Texas. I went down to Dallas and I met up with them to practice with them.
How did he feel, mate?
He felt strong. You know, he was real strong inside. And I mean, yeah, he's good.
That's interesting because you always see him top row. It's his go-to is the top. So yeah, good to know that he's got.
I took that away from him though. I was just holding his hand down and forcing him to go inside with me.
You are a horrible bastard like that.
Yeah,
he's bad for that. I've tried to tell Jerry, it's a shit look.
I want people to know I have a strong hand too. You know.
Joe Mama's just come in with a point for Ray. He said, Ray, I paid you to burn that shirt yesterday. So he's not, you need to get rid of that, mate. That's very Chance. That's a hell of a shirt. You look like something off the Love Boat. Look at it. What is it like? Is it like flowers and what have you got on the back?
Where's he going? He's taking it off.
He'll be getting another one.
I actually like that shirt.
There you go.
No, that's Sean Mason.
Hey, there was another pseudo notable thing that happened over here in North America. There was I think an 8-man round robin with Passmore and Jerome Loud, Carl Stanley, and a bunch of these CJ Twine, some good guys. Both right and left hand 8-man round robin, and Jerome went undefeated both arms, and I don't think
this
he felt
yesterday.
anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, Greg Gray versus Matt Craig.
Yes, same place.
Yeah, that was anticlimactic.
No, I was in Texas.
Who was in the round robin?
It was like Carl Stanley, Paul Passmore, CJ Twine. There was a couple others. I don't know. I can't. Desi. Somewhat like there was about 5 guys that were pretty darn good. Like
was that the one? Was Mike there? Was Mike Aiello there?
I don't think so.
And Jerome was undefeated.
Yeah, like the finals match is this. You know what I mean?
Man is strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks really good.
Strong. Daniel Lawrence with a super chat, mate. Thanks very much. He's put, do you 5 pullers on here around Neil think that he's cheating? That he has 3 legs planted on the floor while pulling. Thanks, mate. Yeah, the shadow. Let's have a look. Thanks for that, brother. Appreciate your super chat. I'm hoping I'm not missing any more. Ryan Blue Bowen's come in with a super chat. This is the longest I've ever been silent.
Absolute
quality.
Ryan needed some attention.
Hey, Ryan, joking aside, we're talking about Chance Shaw.
Yeah.
Would you give him a rematch?
Oh, yeah, of course I would. Rematches are always fun, regardless of win, lose, or whatever. Yeah, I would love to. I think he will say that the current version of himself kicks the ass of the version of him that faced me. I say the same, so it would probably be interesting once again.
When did you go again?
Say again, Jerry?
When did you pull him?
February.
In February 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, the one weakness that I personally felt in Chance was his wrist rise started to give away the more the match went on, and that felt like his vulnerability to me. So it's interesting that you say he beat Jordan Sill with the wrist up the other day. That's fascinating.
With the buckle up.
Yeah, so that's good that he's developed that, because I would think that against Ron was going to take control of that wrist over the rounds. So if he's fixed that problem, then I rate him as a chance against Ron. Yeah. But I think if that wrist rise is still a problem, he's in trouble.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, because it all comes down to how much was Ron burned up when they faced last time, and did Chance get a lot of false confidence out of that situation? I don't know. Chance is a very smart lad. He's very realistic. So I don't expect that he'll have got too much of a confidence boost out of that. He's probably well aware of whom he's facing. But I'm actually more interested to see what he could do with Jordan Fresh. You know,
I think Chance has a good understanding of where he's at in the sport. He's ambitious, so I relate to him on that. And he rubs people the wrong way he pulls people at practice. And I've heard people say that he's number 2 in the world in practice table pulling behind Hermes. But I like what he's doing. He's trying hard. He's seeking out matches with people that have more runs on the board than him. And that's I relate to that a lot, because that's how I personally progress the most. So I'm a big fan of what he's doing and where he's going with it. And I think that he'll get there. He's got the foundation to be one of the best in North America in the years ahead. How high he gets, we'll see. He is, like Paul said, he does have that kind of lazy side to him. But if the motivation's there, if the motivation arrives in a gifted person, then yeah, it's a nasty formula.
Speaking of the sneaky practice pulling videos, Rob, I seen Eduardo Tiete post a video on his story pulling you left arm, and I was very interested to the context of that, because I feel like there's a little bit more to that one video.
Yeah, it was went to a practice yesterday. Had pretty much every state in New England. It was like everywhere. It was New York, Maine, Vermont, everything. So it was about 100 guys there. It was a really good turnout. And Tiete, and do you know his buddy there, Andre Evangelista?
No, but I hear of him. I keep hearing of him. People are trying to set up matches for him.
Yeah, so he's about a 220, 230 guy. He's been winning probably pretty much everything he's been doing. I've seen him win a few events that I was at, but I was in a different class. You know, he just won something in New York when all those Georgians were there. So anyways, I get to pulling, and, you know, I'm pulling everybody. You know, I'm in a place where I don't get off the table. And there's some good guys there and just staying on the table. And I mean, I pulled Andre, who's supposed to be the better of the two. And I was very comfortable with Andre, both hands. And Eduardo's hanging out, watching, creeping. Somewhere 3 hours later, Eduardo does the creep on me and goes, hey, and Eduardo's not pulling anybody. He hasn't pulled a soul. And he finally creeps on me and says, hey, we pull. And as soon as we like kind of hit, and I go over to him, and he puts the brakes on me, fucking cameras were coming out like some celebrity paparazzi just came in the room. Yeah. Dude, listen, people are high-fiving and elbow bumping and chest bumping when you go off the table. I'm like, we're here practicing, right? Yeah. You know, it's like video killed the radio star. Video killed, like, the arm wrestler who's got any kind of accolade. It doesn't want that shit. Like, poor Vitaly now, right? We went down 8 notches from a practice. He's over there trying to be nice with the fella, and they knock him all the way down. So when I saw those cameras come out, I said, Heather, watch. I guarantee you there's a video on within an hour.
Well, it's funny. There's some that goes 2 ways, because there's a lot of video footage knocking around of, you know, really unusual losses. I myself have around 6 copies of Adam Gilbert smacking the shit out of Ryan with complete side pressure, which he. Yes, I'll say.
Yeah.
I've at least 60 copies I've got.
Is this before or after Ryan did like 87,000 kilos like this?
Well, it looks like
it's got to be before.
Because literally.
Yeah.
How heavy was Ryan there, though?
It's awesome.
What was
I'll
that?
send it you, Rob, after this.
How heavy was Ryan?
I was, same as I am now, 95 kilos.
Was that the Chance Shore day?
Yeah, that was Chance Shore day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I practice pulling all that sort of stuff is funny. I don't know. It is what it is. People have their little moment of social media fun to do it, but in the real context of thing, no one's stressing. No one who's the actual guy being pinned that is kind of the higher caliber. No one's really stressing about it. They just kind of giggle a bit and so yeah, no worries.
Well, see, I don't think everyone does. I think that there's a lot of elite arm wrestlers that only practice in small pockets because of that.
Yeah.
So you can deal with it one of two ways. You can be like Rob or you, Ryan, or myself. People are always like, do you mind if I video? I'm like, sure, I don't care. Whatever. It's practice. So you can take it that way, or you can not like it and then say, okay, here's my tight-knit group and I'm never going to have cameras.
But it also too, what it does, it limits your quality of practice when you get guys there who want to just take videos, hopefully bagging a win on you. Because a lot of the guys I pulled, there's a few guys that I never seen, and some of them were big, strong guys. I didn't know who they were. And like, hey, can I pull you? And out of 100 people in the crowd, they picked me like, hey, can I feel you? And from grabbing the guy, it wasn't feeling me. I mean, these people were fouling. They were taking off like lightning. I'm like, this guy's here to win. He's here to get a video.
Right.
And it changes the quality when now you're in a position where you're dogfighting with guys and it's practice. So they're starting with a bowed wrist. They're hopping. You're fighting guys that are out to hurt you and out to take a video to show on their Instagram 30 seconds of glory.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
point.
how I popped the guy at Dave Morocco's house.
I know.
Popped the kid's arm at Dave Morocco's house because this kid asked me to pull. And when I pulled him, I grabbed him and yanked him right over. And his whole entourage was silent. He goes, oh, try that again. I tried it again. And he dropped into a King's move. And when I went to just go finish it, he stopped me for a second and his whole crowd went crazy and started pulling out cameras. And they're like, you got it, son. You got it. I'm like, are you guys trying to make an asshole out of me? So I stood up and threw my shoulder on it and pressed him and popped his bicep.
Oh, holy shit.
But I'm like,
yeah, that happened.
You're going to make an asshole out of me. I'm over here being the nice guy. And you guys trying to sucker punch me by making me somebody's, headline video? No.
It's always worrying, isn't it? You just go to pull them, you're knackered at practice. Hey, can I have a couple of matches with you, mate? Yeah, no problem. And they go, okay, no problem. Just wait till I get the drone up and some lighting. Stick on like
some aerial shots
in the background and start posing on you.
Yeah,
I mean, Eduardo's great, right? Eduardo's a really amazing, puller. He's got all the accolades in the world, right? But I came back 5 minutes later after shaking my arm and said, hey, come here, let me feel you again. And I cracked into the pad. And all of a sudden, he's like, no, we do ready goes. We do straps. We do this. We do that. I'm like, bro, where's the cameras now? Where's the back pedaling now?
Just to let everybody know in the chat, guys, we're going to be on here for about another 10 minutes. Then I'll let these guys get on with their Sunday. If you've got any more questions for RBJ, for Jerry, or for any of the Fix crew, fire them in now. I'll keep my eyes on the chat while the guys are talking there, and we can get the questions in. About 10 minutes, guys. We're going to stay on here, and then we're going to let these guys get on with the rest of the day. But I want to everybody.
I haven't had a match in Dubai without camera on. Like we had two practices on Friday. So one is at 1 p.m. Up to like 4 p.m. and the second is in the evening, 9 p.m. up to 12. And because they have a month of Ramadan, so no one's eating after the sun goes down. So they eat and then they come train.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the evening, we had like a guy comes and he has like 3 buddies with him, and all he wants to do is just to beat me. Of course, he's like I don't know, like 70 kilos and pretty weak, but he went out and all his guys like, yes, get him deeper, hook, and everything else. And like I haven't really had any match without someone pointing a camera at me, because the good part, of course, is we're in a bodybuilder's gym. And all the time, like world-class bodybuilders will come up and they will try to arm wrestle. They will like, oh, cool, let's try this. And so you have like I had a random guy came to me like, let's try. I'm showing him some stuff. He tries to pin me. I'm like, crack his can open. He takes the video, posted. He has like 500,000 followers on Instagram. It's like a classic, like normal day there. But now I'm kind of used to it. But at the start, I'm like I'm pulling with guy for 30 minutes and they're filming everything. I'm like, do you really need this? Do you need extra? Like, do you think you will get, like, what's going to happen here? But this is the age we are living in.
There it's content central, and all them bodybuilders in there got all kind of like followers, and no matter where they post that, somebody's going to start following you or whatever the case may be. It's a little different when you're in somebody's basement and the guy down the street's the one with the camera. So I feel like Dubai is like a whole different animal. I guess you got to get used to it anyway, because you never know who's going to see it.
I'm like that. Yeah, I see this is the life here. Don't
I mean,
fight.
Devin Larratt's the best example of this globally. He travels the world and just pulls everyone continuously for hours. And there's no shortage of people that will make claims that Devin's weak because they've seen him pinned by so-and-so. But yeah, the reality is very, very different. I'm kind of protected by it that I film my entire practice anyway. So if anyone ever puts out a video specifically pinning me, claiming, hey, look, I'm awesome or whatever, I can always say, yeah, that's cool. There's the full context if you want it on my channel. But at the end of the day, it's short game versus long game, and long game's always where the true pros are. So.
Got a question in from the amazingly named Devil Raper, and he's asked Neil, ask RVJ if he'd be interested to go to Dubai.
I would potentially, but when is it? June?
May.
Well, the match is May, end of May.
May 28th, 29th. I mean, I would go, but not to pull.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't just go just to go. I mean, there's been no contact with anything out there, you know. So, yeah. I mean, if I had infinite resources, maybe I'd hop a plane and go check it out. But right now, there's nothing in the card to go, and there's no match for me to pull out there. So. Maybe down the road another time if this thing stays going, who knows?
And we got let's have a look here. Avatar Magnus coming and said, when does Arm Wars tournament start, Neil? Approximately the next Arm Wars gig we got, touch wood, will be at the Arnold Classic UK. A lot of the guys on the call here are going to be involved, and that would be September 1st to September 3rd in Birmingham, England. Travel is an issue at the moment. As soon as believe me, as soon as we know that that's definitely set, we will be promoting the living daylights out of it. It'll be headlined by RVJ and Sashio. That's the plan. Both arm wrestlers have verbal commitment. Right now, guys, we can't do a great deal because we're pretty much in travel lockdown, as everybody knows. We've got a super chat just come through, Joe Mama. And he's put, Neil, Ryan said Lockie will smash Toddzilla recently. Predictions from the panel if that match occurs. We'll start with Jerry Carteret. Do you think Lachlan would be capable of beating Todd right now from what you've seen, Jerry?
Your mic is off, Jerry.
You're muted, Jerry.
Oh, you're muted, Jerry, mate.
Sorry, it was so you guys didn't have to hear all my little kids running around. Say it again now, Neil.
Yeah, he's asked. The question is, Ryan had spoken about a match between Lachlan Adair and Toddzilla, and he wanted to know: do we think that is a realistic proposition or a good match? Do you think that Lachlan would be too much for Toddzilla, or the other way around?
I mean, Todd is so freakishly strong, you know, and I think that he would have to. If Todd stopped him, then Todd would win. My thought.
Rob, you got?
Oh, I think a lot of it's. I think Lachlan has his own path to go out there and kind of prove where he's at. And I get, I think Ryan gets a little bit of what I call practice partner envy. And it's not Ryan. I think a lot of guys do this when they train with a guy. they get to feel the very best of them in all the angles. You know, I've seen so many guys that train with somebody and they'll be like, this guy's going to get this class. He's going to wipe out the whole class. Trust me, he's a fucking animal. And the guy goes 2-0 because when you get in a real tournament situation, people aren't letting them kind of get that coil they need or get that position they need. So you're feeling the ultimate of all their best weapons. I think Ryan gets that with Lachlan. That's not saying Lachlan's not strong or capable. I just don't think he's tried and true yet. Maybe it's because of the landscape in Australia or whatnot. Could it be a good match? I don't know. Also, the Todd we saw that went out there and trained with them for those 2 weeks or whatever it was is a very different cat than the one who shows up here in the States. That guy was like 2 weeks out of the hospital and he was like 145 pounds. So it's not the same gauge. The gauges, I think, are a little bit differently than what is reality.
Paul, what are your thoughts on that, mate?
I do think Lachlan, so like when this first conversation started happening, I do think Lachlan has gotten significantly better. I think just seeing, you know, he's kind of progressing how he deals with Ryan. I think he's definitely stronger. But I mean, now if the emotion that was tied into it when it was first suggested was still there, I mean, I think Todd's a heavy favorite if he's that committed to what he was. Now, if it comes back and there's not as much emotion tied to it, I think it's a closer match. But I do think that Todd, when he's focused, is just a weirdo. So, but I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility. Kind of like Jerry said, like if Lachlan is truly so fast, like Ryan says, he maybe, you know, and I know he's got an outside move now too. So I think it's closer than people might think now because I think Lachlan has leveled up, but I mean, it's Todd.
Ray?
I don't know, but I really think, yeah, Lachlan is strong. Is he strong enough to beat him? I don't know. If, like, let's say I would give more chances of Lachlan to win if they're doing best of 3, and I will give more chances of Todd winning if they're doing 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah, and Ryan?
Yeah, interesting comments. I agree with the last little bit from Ray about the rounds. For me, I see Lachlan winning the match if he pops the wrist of Todd. I see Todd winning the match if it's forced into a hook because of the longevity. I think the continuous side pressure from Todd in the hook would outlast, especially over the longer rounds. But Lachlan has tried to become a big Giannis. The world hasn't seen it yet because he just hasn't had the opportunity to pull. But his style, his ace is a fast back pressure hit, like a Vlad the Destroyer style shape. So I think that with the strength that he has, the fundamental strength that he has, if he popped Todd's wrist back, I think Lachlan would win. And I personally would bet that he would pop Todd's wrist back.
See, I think him actually slowly top rolling Todd is the worst possible thing.
No, it's not slow. Really.
Okay, it's got to go the whole way down. If he wedges, I think, and if Lachlan, who's probably not dealt a whole lot with over rotation or had to really, I think that could over rotation, I think could possibly be his worst possible position against Todd.
Yeah, Lachlan's very, very fundamentally strict with himself. You don't see Todd. I don't see Lachlan looking. He'll either pop the wrist or.
I thought this one's mine.
Okay, that's it.
What's that one?
We just got a super chat from Chris Gamo, and he just put, great show today, gents. RBJ and Jerry always dropping knowledge and truth. Love you guys. Chris, thank you very much for your super chat. Ladies and gents, we've been on here for a significant period of time now. We're going to let the guys get on with their day. I want to say a massive thanks to the Fix crew, to Ryan Bowen, Rolly Royce, Raimonds, Liepins, and also the very sexy Mr. Paul Linn, the White Oak in the Mother Fluffing House. And also, I want to thank our special guest, Rob Vigent Jr., WL Hammer Holder, and to Jerry Caderet, one of the greatest arm wrestlers, ladies and gentlemen, of all time. Believe me, one of the most underrated arm wrestlers ever to do it. Jerry Caderet and Rob, thanks for joining us on the show tonight, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you in the chat. Everybody who's tuned in and checked out the show. Thanks for checking the show out, stopping by. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. And until we see you next time here on Supernatural Strength, take it easy, peeps.
Take care,
guys.
Peace out.
Okay.